was a very long introduction. I think Akshar Patel Saab, I must express my sense of gratitude for such a long introduction. It doesn't work. What needs to work works. It's working. All right. Usually in this kind of panel discussions, I think we should let the audience to speak because they have come here and there's a lot of wisdom on the other side. And I think we should spend a little less time on introducing people. But I think when Akshar says something, it's difficult to sort of negotiate. So I accept it with all humility. And there's only one small correction in the long introduction that you made. This is quite dated and this has been downloaded and it has no relevance to currently what I'm doing, but that's okay. That's not your fault. Okay. All right. The only one additional dimension that I want to add is it's not that I worked in Gujarat. I continue to hold my lien in Ahmedabad. I am Ahmedabad. If somebody hears you, he may say tomorrow onwards don't come here. So therefore, I still hold my job here. That's one small correction. Now, I'm a little confused as what my role is. As per the official agenda here, my role is to summarize. But as per the evolving agenda, it seems to say a few words on the topic. So I would choose the second one because the first one is difficult because there have been very distinguished panels and I don't want to sort of take too much time. I'll take exactly 5 minutes and flag 3 issues and maybe we can use the rest of the time for some kind of an exchange between the audience and us. Well, I would like to add my customary remarks before I get going on this. Is I'm very delighted to be here for a variety of reasons, and I feel you have to go outside and live in India to understand what it means to live in Gujarat. In terms of safety, in terms of security, in terms of openness, in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of honesty and purpose and professionalism. And I think this needs a clap. I think you can do that. Okay, since many of you are little post dinner lunch mood, maybe you're not hearing me properly. I don't have PowerPoint slides as well. I cherish my association with Gujarat, and therefore I'm very delighted to be here. Every little opportunity that is possible, I come back here for a kind of a refresher. It's not that to say that the other places are bad. I think they provide a variety, and Gujarat provides a uniqueness. So therefore, there's a bit of a difference. Now, having said that, the topic of this panel is building innovation ecosystem. As I was engaging you before in a conversation, ecosystem is the key, and industry, institutional interaction is the enabler. If you position that, I think the whole thing falls in place. The end objective of is what is written up here. If you see Indira Vadan Bhai's quote that is given here, it's a good friend of mine, is no more. Now, it says the celebration of research is not only in discovering medicines, but also making it affordable to the last man. That I think is the key. Therefore, at the end of the day, it is not that knowledge is important. Converting knowledge to a meaningful application and an affordable application, I think is the key. Now, if you take innovation in that larger spirit, you need an ecosystem. Now, let me just leave that issue at a very large issue. An innovation which is esoteric, an innovation which is not societally useful, an innovation which is not affordable to a large mass is as good as an academic paper published in an esoteric journal, which I think has no meaning. It has to be translated to societal context. It must be affordable. It must be available to all. That I think is the ultimate of an innovation. I think now, having said that, India is a country, we are sort of it's a very interesting country in our own way. We started with the old universities. Our Nalanda University is extremely well known. Over a period of time, we started creating specialized institutions, institution for architecture, institution for pharma, institution for engineering, management, etc., etc. This, I think, in a way, constrains the ecosystem. University provides a much more larger variety, ambience, cross-fertilization, multiple talents, multiple skills, knowledge base, etc., etc. So separating these institutions and creating them silos in whatever mechanisms that we have, justification that we have, I think is possibly an area which we need to sort of recheck. The IITs have already done that in their own way. Being a good engineering school, they already started, they have an established humanities and social sciences department, which I think is exceptionally complementary to the engineering education. Most of them have now embarked on some kind of a management education, which they are doing reasonably well. And some of these institutions are already thinking of starting medical schools, which means they started with an engineering base and they are moving and migrating towards a larger academic ecosystem by which cross-fertilization can happen. Way back when I was a young student, that's about 35 years before, the university where I went had a music department. It had a music department, it had linguistics department, it had a literature department, it had a math, science, philosophy, engineering, medicine, dental. I think that makes it extremely comprehensive. I don't know why we drifted away from the university system. Maybe the time had come to debate this and discuss it and look at the plus and minuses of how we create an ecosystem which is knowledge friendly, which therefore possibly can create innovations. That I think is the major issue that I thought I'll just place before you. The next issue, which is very quickly obvious, is innovation cannot happen without curiosity. Curiosity, curiosity alone is not good enough. In order to be curiosity oriented, you must have a scientific temper or a scientific mental makeup. That doesn't happen if you build a conversation in the context of education. If education is downloading, curiosity is the casualty. If curiosity is the casualty, innovation will not happen. Therefore, I think for innovation to happen, you must build curious students, curious participants, curious people around, and when they are challenged and there is a need to address the issues of the society, possibly innovation will flourish in a big way. It is very easy to say build an innovation ecosystem, which will essentially mean you have a great idea. How do you take the great idea to the masses or to the relevant segment in the context in which you are working? Which means you are looking at incubation centers, which means you are looking at mentoring mechanism, which you are looking at prototyping, we are looking at funding. The whole range of things has to be sort of assembled together, and you need to create a mechanism by which this hand-holding happens. This, I think, is dramatically important. Innovation on its own, innovation standing alone, it may not be necessarily the best thing that can happen to a country. Of course, what is suggested here is how do we ensure institutions and industry interact? I think the only way in India, I'm going to be a little bit more pragmatic, the only place where the institutions and the industry interact in India is when we want to place our students, you run out of, that's the time you just look around and see, who is the pharma guy, who is the L&D guy, who is the engineering guy, can I just go around and see, for example, then you look around and see how we can interact with people. It's too late, no matter how nice you are, no matter how benevolent they are, it is very difficult to find some way of dialoguing. Or alternatively, the industry interaction in this country, institution-industry interaction in this country happens when a manager is no more wanted in the organization and he has become dated, and then he turns around and says, can I contribute something? Can I be an academician? Can I do something worthwhile? Because they somehow think academician's job can be done by anybody, and therefore then they come back and say, I have 35 years of selling experience. What have you sold? Some bakery products. What do you want to teach? I want to teach industrial marketing. And the guy turns around and gives you some kind of appeal of this kind. This I think is unfortunately the only industry interaction that we have. Now, so once in a while, we train a fellow in marketing, we train a fellow in let's say, in finance, he runs away to the industry, he never comes back. So therefore, it's actually a one-way trip, one-way track, and therefore you don't come back at all. These are the 2-3 isolated industry institution interaction that happens in this country. I think we are slowly changing. We will change in a very big way as we go along. And the media, of course, has a very important role to play. When an IIT Madras student gets placed in Google and he gets, let's say, such amount of a fancy salary, the media is all over it as if, the world has completely changed. Poverty still remains the same. But the larger point is our interactions are very, very, very selfish, and they are very sporadic. They are extremely marginal. Now, I think if you listen to the first speaker, it's a country which is very small in terms of manpower as well as scientific manpower. But the country is very resource-based. Now, resource-based needs to be leveraged to ensure the economy is stable and economy is doing well and people have a reasonable way of living. Now, you need to obviously find ways and means by which knowledge can be converted to commercial propositions. Now, this I think is a two-way street, and I think in India we have a very, very long way to go. And unless we make very major corrective steps, this is a subject on its own. We can spend a whole day in talking about it. I don't want to sort of spend too much of a time on it, but I only want to highlight whatever we are talking is lip sympathy. Whatever we are talking about is very, very selfish. Whatever we are talking about industry, institution interaction is very opportunity based. It is what can I get, Maru Suche, rather than what can we collectively do together in this. I think that seems to be the direction in which we are moving. We need to correct it. If we correct it, I think India will be a glorious country. Now, the kind of manpower that we are talking about, as the Honorable Chief Minister mentioned this morning, by 2020, 35% of the Indian population will be at the age of about 29 to 30. Now, that manpower, and if you add with a little bit of an innovation, plus a little bit of commercialization, plus a little bit of entrepreneurship, plus a little bit of dialoguing between the industry and the institution, I think this country will be very great. But that's a long way to go. But we must give it a shot because there is no other option. Thank you.